This Cotoneaster is arguably one of the most valuable trees in my garden. Look at all the roots coming out of the bottom of the pot here. It's desperate for a repot. If I leave it like this, it's going to continue to decline. It's already got some dieback, but if I fail or go too far, it'll get even worse. It may even die. So I cannot screw this up. I don't really want to have to do any pruning so that this tree can preserve its energy, but these suckers coming from the base of the plant, A, they're in the way, and B, they're just going to keep stealing energy from the top of the tree, so I definitely don't want these. I've got to get rid of them. For the next step, I'm going to very carefully pull some soil back, see if I can't find the location of the nabari. So this tree came into the garden over the winter. It's definitely not me that let it get in this state. The previous owner just didn't have time to maintain his collection, so I bought the lot. So I've started to hit some bonsai soil here. I'd normally go a bit further, see if we can't find any structural roots, but time's really against me. I've got a Japanese maple that I need to repot as well. Let's see about getting this tree out of the pot. So there's a lot of deadwood on this tree and the live vein isn't very thick, and I've noticed just giving it a wiggle, there's a little bit of play in that. I'm not going to really crank hard on the trunk to get it out of the pot because I'm just going to snap it, and I have to actually come in with the Karma and dig it right out. There's the Karma, repotting sickle, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to scrape around the edge. I'll tell you what, I'm going to come underneath and get rid of the roots that are on the bottom. That's going to make the pot a lot more stable. Good grief, it's absolutely solid. Got to come in with the weapon of mass destruction, I think. If this is how much roots on the outside, what's going to be on the inside? The shape of this pot's not making it easy, oh my word. It's wobbling all over the place. Ugh. I was sat here thinking, if only I had a tool specially designed for cutting through lots of root and soil, and arms if I'm not careful. Oh dear. There you go. Right, let's get a little test pull, and where the live vein is, just going to gently put some pressure. Now see, the trunk's moving independently of the root ball, so I need to do some more work. I think. Oh, there we go. Whew. Oh, gotcha. Yes! Let's see if I can get this mat of roots off. Try and maintain a nice flat bottom under this mat of roots. All the while I've got to watch out for this deadwood. I don't want to snap any deadwood off this tree if I can help it. No. There's too many thick roots down here, I'm going to have to go with the chopstick. And there's no point being gentle with this mat of roots down here. If I leave it in place, it's just going to hamper water and oxygen penetration. So I'm going to cut any roots that start at the bottom and go back up, any damaged ones, and any of this fine matted root that we've got, until I can find my way to some friable soil, or at least soil anyway. So now that I know that I've got some decent friable soil on the bottom, and there's enough for me to work with, and the roots aren't too bad, I am going to do a bit more work up the top here. A lot of the trees that came from this collection all have terrible soil at the top, which is why I've kind of not gone too far, just in case I had to remove a ton of root just to get it out of the pot. Nice structural roots there. Be careful around those. Right, now that I can see what I'm doing, I think I'll get some of these tie downs out of the way as well. Right, the bulk of the work done, I'm just going to come in with a finer chopstick that's much more kind on those structural roots. Cotoneaster, I've got beautiful fine roots, but it does mean you have to be extra gentle with them. I have had issues with nursery stock Cotoneaster that I've repotted in the past. I've gone a little bit gung-ho with the old root rake. And you end up removing far more root than you realise. Yeah, we've got quite a lot of black in here, so it wouldn't surprise me if we've got a core of really old, broken down, compacted organic soil underneath the trunk, which is certainly partly why it's not very healthy. And the temptation is to simply do the top, sides and bottom and pot it again, but you're just delaying the problem really. I don't want to risk the tree, you know. What do I do? Just do the top, sides and bottom? Or do I grab the bull by the horns and get this muck out and just deal with the problem at its root right now? I don't want to be the one to kill this tree. I love this tree. It's a big risk to clear all this out. You know, no matter how hard I try, I'm gonna have to remove roots to get through to it. Right, so now that I've identified the location of the main structural roots, I can now really, really effectively get underneath and start excavating this really bad soil. I'm doing minimum damage here. And hopefully you can see I've removed very little in the way of roots. That's the beauty of the chopstick, is it's just so sensitive and delicate that I'm doing minimal damage and still able to get the job done quickly or efficiently. Look at the colour difference. Like, we've got this very dark organic material versus this beautiful akadama. Right, I think I've done as much as I can from the top now. So you've got some nice friable soil through here, and that's why I've been focusing on the top. Got some nice intact particles. Hopefully I can leave some roots, some of the beautiful roots that are formed in this intact akadama. I can leave those untouched. Just clean out as much of the organic stuff as I possibly can from below. And then the tree can go on and thrive. That's the plan anyway. Any roots that are just thick and don't have much feeder root attached, I can cut. So this thick root here, I think this is one of the ones that's poking out the bottom of the pot, and I can see clearly there's not a lot of feeder root attached to it. So I'm just going to come in and slice that one out of the way. And where we've got that dense packed soil on the top of the root system, it's very dry under here. Obviously water has not been percolating well through that organic soil. I have to keep these roots hydrated, I think. Quick spray. Getting some thicker structural pieces. I'm just going to work around those. I'm not going to cut them if I don't know what they're doing. Yes. Now I'll just clean some of this out best as I can. I'll still be leaving some organic matter around the edges underneath this lot. It's just, at the moment, that's fine. I'm happy to leave some root ball untouched. The untouched roots are going to help this tree survive the operation, and I can come back and sort the organic stuff out that I leave behind at the next repot. If I don't want to do a complete bare rooting, simply because the tree is not healthy enough. If the tree was a young piece of nursery stock, I'd happily bare root it and do whatever. But if it was a young piece of nursery stock, it wouldn't be this blooming difficult. I can start to feel wood up there now, so I'm right under the trunk. Lovely. But I'm just going to very quickly get rid of any of these matted roots from the side so that the root ball can integrate with the new fresh soil that I'm going to put in. There we go. Alright, and then any damaged roots or circling roots. Now, to make sure I can get soil in all the air pockets underneath some of the areas of old soil that I'm leaving on, I've dug some strategically placed holes, and I'm going to use another piece of chopstick just to sit in there so that I can see where they are. And I've got another one under there to get under this big root. Poke a nice long chopstick through there so I don't lose it. Oh, I've lost some pieces of this. What a disaster. So we got a lot of dust, which means I've over chopsticked because there were some really tricky spots to get some soil into. I'm just going to cut back some of these loose roots we've got. The more useful ones I'll pin down, I think. Ones are pointing up and on all sorts of different directions they can get cut off. Right, I'm just going to use a hook to pin these roots down. There we go, that's better. This is the last one. Just going to hold it in place nicely. Just a little wire hook like that. That's better. There we go. Got a tap. Help everything settle in. Nice top dressing of moss. Keep those roots nice and protected, as well as stabilise the surface of the soil. Just a quick spray holds that moss in place when I go and water it in, and once watered, we're done. Just got to hope it's going to survive now though.